What is the compelling lifestyle requirement and reason why people would love Holland? The scarcity of this particular plot. The entry price is going to be amazing because of our land price. It's a near mixed development, which means that we get to enjoy the amenities and the accessibility and connectivity without having to pay a premium for a mixed development. We are going to have a much more efficient layout and livable space. And because we are also a harmonized project, you need to be looking into Skye and coming for our VIP preview at the end of September. CCR land cost is lower right now for Holland Village than the OCR. Secondly, last GLS plot in Holland Village, I have to re-emphasize this because Holland Village is surrounded by low-rise commercial and also low-density condominiums. And then you have the HDB flats, which is already there, which you can't change. And then you have the GCB areas that you will never change. So there's going to be no more land for Holland Village other than this. And the third thing is on pricing. Now, this is the most important because we're literally back to 2019 prices. This is the last Holland GLS site and it's selling at OCR prices. I'm Sarah X Miracle and this is why you should be considering Skye at Holland, which is the latest new launch coming up at the end of September. I make videos about real estate and how you as families, as mothers, because I'm a mother of 4 fathers, of course, can make really good value-based decisions, data-driven, in order to secure the future of your family and make sure that you eventually be able to exit with certainty and safety. If you like these videos, do give a subscribe, a like, and hit that notification button so you'll be aware of the new videos that I create every single week. I'm going to be breaking down in this video, number 1, why this land opportunity is so rare and why the entry prices are likely going to be at around OCR or RCR prices when this is actually a CCR plot. Number 2, the kind of lifestyle that you're going to get in this location that is unlike any other. Number 3, looking at already done prices for One Holland Village and other kinds of developments similar to this, such as near mixed developments versus mixed developments, to explore why this particular new launch is something that you do not want to miss out on. And if you want to have more details and be the first to receive the floor plans when they're out, you have to contact me, give me a WhatsApp, and we'll put you on the VVIP preview so that you can get the chance to be one of the first to book this new launch. So if you're not already familiar with the Holland Village enclave, One Holland Village is one of the most anticipated previously commercial mixed developments that has residential as well as commercial all into one. And I would say that Far East did a really good job in making this a true neighborhood node. There were a few areas. You had the Chippy area, you have Holland Village Shopping Centre, and then you had the Windmill, and then you had the whole stretch of shop houses where you had like the famous Wala Wala and all that. I'm showing my age, but Holland Village has always, for its location, been a thriving hub. However, before One Holland Village, it was getting a little bit sleepy and there were not a lot of very strong retail and dining options in their place. But Far East came in, brought their mall and commercial expertise into the jam, made it very smart, dog friendly. And so now when you go in the evenings and the weekends, it's so beautiful, the environment, because there's this really nice open space in One Holland Village and dogs are there. You get to meet people because people just chat about their dogs and you really kind of feel like you're making friends. And I personally just sat down, across a couple, we had ice cream and we had a conversation, found out that they want to buy a property. It is beautiful. Now we have Skye Holland, which is not part of the mixed development, but next to the mixed development, and it's going to be the last GLS site in this particular Holland enclave. And the surrounding area, the unique point, is that you are in the middle of GCB areas. So we have 39 GCB areas, and in front of where Skye Holland is going to be 10, 11, 12, 13 GCB clusters. Now, what does that mean? That means low rise. That means unblocked views. That means unchanged forever, because these are GCB areas that are gazetted by the government and cannot be changed. Besides that, behind you, you have the really, really nice kind of like old shop houses, of which some are actually conserved, right, that area. And so whether you are facing GCBA or you're facing towards the back of the low-rise Holland Village area, 18 stacks, 12 come with unblocked views. And the ones that don't have those unblocked views are pool facing. Anywhere you will have a view with Skye Holland. Just want to get a sense of this particular location because GCB areas, these are highly desirable zones where usually only the very ultra rich get to actually buy into this land. And literally in this particular area, you have to have a 40-60 rule in terms of density, and you have to have a low-rise surrounding. So even the landed enclaves that surrounding the GCBs cannot be 3-story zones. There are only 2.5 stories to keep in line. And then there's that 2-story zone buffer before it goes into 3-story and then higher rise. So you can imagine it's GCB, two-story landed, three-story landed, and then it goes to the high-rise buildings. And so why we're really, really unique is because we're not in a landed zone, but we are next to these GCBs. It's almost the same as where I used to stay at Dawson, where you are next to the Jervois GCB area, and you actually really have a really nice view from where I had at Dawson of these GCB areas. Literally, very rare location, Holland Village MRT and One Holland Village. I think I don't have to say much more. If you are a true Holland Village, Holland Bukit Timah person, you know that this location is really, really excellent. Besides that, there's very, very few condominiums in this area. There's also the most recent freehold launch in that area was Hill on Holland. And by the way, I do have a Hill on Holland unit if you are also interested to look into a freehold option that is slightly further out. A smaller unit, 3-bedroom, 1055, 3+ study is the best stack, I would say, and it's already at the 8th floor, covers the building in front. But the rest of the condominiums there tend to be smaller projects, right? Low density, high MCST fees, and these are usually old. They're not new, and they're also not so walkable to the MRT. In fact, the most walkable ones are actually the HDB blocks opposite that. But we know for a fact that HDB does not retain its value over time compared to private property because of the lease decay problems, especially now that the government has already instituted that there's not going to be a compulsory SIRS program. We're going to a volunteer VERS program right now. That's for another topic for another day. But the fact is that in this Queenstown planning area, no more residential plots going to be available unless you're going to be unblock an old development, and of which the plot is going to be small. Number 2, we have amenities galore. Number 3, connectivity is 100%. So not only do you have Holland Village MRT, you're also very close to the AYE and the PIE access points, whether you're going up towards North Buona Vista or you're going down Farrer Road towards the PIE. The project itself has 666 units, so this is going to be one of the biggest developments that we're going to have in Holland Village itself, and it's going to be high-rise, 40 stories tall, and it's going to be nice address, number 2 and number 6 Holland Village Way. And our buyers were actually a joint venture from Capitaland, UOL, Singapore Land, and Keng. Like, this is a powerhouse combination, all right? Powerhouse combination, because UOL has done some really excellent design in their recent projects with Pine Tree Hill, with Wotton House. They have that signature dry kitchen look that everybody loves. And then you have Capitaland, which has been a long-time player in mixed developments, but also in your residential zone. And then Keng Leong, which is also known for its luxury high-end projects. I would say that this is a killer combination, and the way that they chose to come together as a consortium to put together their best ideas and best resources means that this is going to be an outstanding project at the end of the day. We have already information about the unit types available. Now, the majority of the project is going to still be in your 2-bedroom range, and very cleverly, they have cut out all 1-bedroom because we all know that 1-bedrooms tend to be for investment, rental, and not so much for own stay. And honestly, many people are even moving away from 1-bedrooms because there is an oversupply of 1-bedrooms in the market right now. We also do have some 1-bedrooms that I'm also personally selling. So if you're looking for investment 1-bedroom, freehold, by the way, in walking distance to Newton MRT, I also have that. Different product, different proposition. It is probably going to be an investment unit. But what I'm saying is that Skye Holland is starting at 2 bedrooms, which means that we have going to be more own stay, more young couples, more even, Xennials in that range, because we have young people who are going to be in their 20s, those really capable ones, they're traders, this kind of very high-level professionals, entrepreneurs that have made their bucks, and they're going to be looking for an independent place to stay outside of where their parents stay, and they want instant convenience and access to amenities that we have. They want a nice aesthetic. They want their home to be cool and functional. And they want to have that sense of connectedness that Holland Village brings. The beautiful thing about Holland Village is that it really feels like you're part of a tribe. This entire area, and because I literally stay in this neighborhood, when you go to Holland Village, you just bump into people all the time. Okay, and there's very few areas in Singapore that you feel like that, where like I'm just here and it's a hood and I really see people that I know. That sense of connectedness is so important to our younger generation. If you're even an older person watching this, let's say you already own your landed and like your kids have free names, this would be the perfect unit to give to them, to support them with, because this, I tell you, is going to be one of the most sought after considering its entry price and location. Before I go into entry prices and all a bit of those technical things, I'm going to show you first about the product itself. Let's look at the site and its accessibility. Compared to One Holland Village, we're going to have a lot more ground floor facilities. So for example, you're going to have a 50-meter lap pool. You're going to have a garden pavilion. I mean, this won't be on ground floor. It's going to be on a level 3 facilities deck that you're going to get. And the good thing about the near mixed development but not mixed development, which I'll share in more detail, is that you probably have a bit more privacy for your facilities because you won't really have, so many people in your way and the noise that's coming from the actual mixed development. We'll have a gym, you'll have function room, you have multiple gyms actually. You have playgrounds because obviously we're going to have a lot of young families staying here, and even a pets corner because we have Holland Village, which is that pet-friendly mall next door, One Holland Village. Definitely this is going to attract people who have no kids but have dogs. All right, so this will be perfect if you have dogs. So now I'm going to share with you why on a level of entry price, this project is 100% going to make sense. I'm going to share with you some of the recent sales that have already happened. For example, Linden Woods sold 94% at 2,450 PSF, and that is in Science Park. Now, Science Park is behind, there's no amenities. It's going to be like a new development, Mediapolis, that the government is actually going to have to bring up. They're going to have to put a lot of effort to create life over there. It's already sold 94%. We have Guocoland and Hong Leong selling Springleaf at 92% already. Okay, 2175. And this, they say it's Springleaf, but really is closer to Sembawang. This is going to be, honestly, a milestone for us at Holland Village. And Rivergreen sold at 88% at 3130 PSF on average, of which one of my clients bought. That was such a compelling project as well because it is also has certain features such as near MRT, near amenities, proven entry price given Irwell Hill's existing pricing, and proven rental yield because Irwell Hill again has already a certain benchmark that they've established, and we are nearer to the MRT than Irwell Hill. Rivergreen, totally worth it. I'm so happy for my clients that bought it. And this Skye at Holland project could be your next opportunity to enter at a great price, whether it's for own stay or investment. Now let's just look at the actual land price per plot ratio. What was the price? They paid $805 million for this GLS, and it is going to be only a 3-minute walk to Holland Village MRT, 1,285 per square foot per plot ratio, and this by far is actually quite a lot lower than our other recent GLS, such as the ones in Bayshore and Chuan Grove. Chuan Grove is 1,376, and Chuan Grove is OCR, by the way. It's at the OCR. Bayshore, District 16, also OCR. It is going. It went for 1,388 PSF PSR. Now, why do we look at land prices when we talk about potential entry price? It's because there's always a base cost of construction, base cost of marketing that we can always project. And that's why in the papers, they always project, okay, this is why, therefore, it's going to be roughly this price at launch. So can you imagine that the prices that the OCR developers are paying for Chuan Grove and the Bayshore plot are higher than our Holland Drive CCR 3 minutes walk to Holland Village MRT with a beautiful mall next door? Amazing, right? So we know that it's going to be a very, very attractive price, right? Because even at Dunearn Road, which is the other going to be large CCR launch that's going to be happening, but that's at Bukit Timah site, that was 1,410 PSF PPR. So you know that we are going to already be the most attractive CCR launch like in this time. And also, we're much closer to MRT than the Dunearn Road one, because Dunearn Road one, the closest MRT is technically 6th Avenue, but you still have to walk down, and you still have to cross the road, which is a very big road, by the way, to get to 6th Avenue MRT. So it's not going to be as convenient to the MRT as our Holland GLS for Skye at Holland. And then there's going to be the Holland Link sites that are actually behind Old Holland Road. This is not even CCR. This actually, the line that is being drawn happens that this is within District 21 in RCR. And by the way, accessibility to that area is very poor. I used to go to MGS. I used to drive by that empty plot of land all the time. And the land for that inaccessible plot at Holland Plain, I mean, I know that they're doing something because they have to create connectivity back down to King Albert Park, right? Because there's King Albert Park MRT in the front. That was 1,432 PSF PPR. That's crazy, right? So if you look at it, we are getting a very good entry price because of our land price being only 1,285. Okay, I don't want to say anymore, but this is it. In Turf City, there's going to be multiple plots because the entire area has been slated for redevelopment. In Holland Link as well, there's going to be multiple plots that you can see here, all slated for redevelopment. And the nearest MRT, King Albert Park, is going to still be some distance away. So there's going to be a lot more competition in those areas compared to in Holland. This is our final GLS plot. There are no more residential plots left to be in Holland. Zero. Why? Because there's GCP all around. Low-rise, commercial shop house, and then HDB. There's literally nothing left. Why is it that the prices of these OCR plots are actually higher than Holland? The truth is because the developers have run out of any land, and there are very, very few units that are going to be left 2029 onwards in terms of what is going to be completed, and developers have to replenish their land bank. Keep in mind, we have a government population policy of 6.9 million residents by 2030, means PR citizens actually actively contributing to our economy, and that's why the government is being very aggressive both on the HDB side as well as with our government land sales to make sure that we have enough housing to sustain the population. Look at this. The competition is clear. Developers have to choose the developments wisely. And already because we have other land sites that have been sold at a higher price, our entry price for Skye Holland is going to be 100% safe. Just to summarize, Skye Holland 1285, whereas you can see Clementi was 1250, Naver Grove, which is Pine Grove site further out, it's just at the edge of District 21 and Holland. Pine Grove site is 1233. Okay, so we'll look at the prices of Elta and Naver Grove as well later. Holland Link, which is not truly Holland, it's more like King Albert Park behind, okay, Old Holland Road, 1432. Dunearn Road 1410. So these are the two closest in comparison location-wise. But then look at that. We have the OCR and RCR land prices already transacting. Bayshore 1388, Chuan Grove 1375, and Ori, which already launched, has already transacted, that was 1250. So our pricing may be even more similar to Ori compared to, you know, your Dunearn and your Holland Link. So we're going to be at the best prices, guys. You can be assured. So let me tell you Elta. Okay, so that was the pricing at 1250, okay, PSF PPR. And you can see that the median price was already 2,547, and that's Clementi. Okay, of course, Clementi has its fans, and there's a lot of nice amenities in Clementi. I grew up as well in Clementi. I know. I stayed a lot of places before, and Clementi happens to be one of them. But look at that. You even have the 5 bedrooms already transacting at an almost 4 million quantum in Clementi. Okay, so we're talking about Clementi. That project has done very well. You have Naver Grove, which is technically why I love Naver Grove and Pine Tree Hill, is because they actually have very similar accessibility to the Holland Village area, because it's just about a 5-7 minute drive down to Holland Village, because I used to stay at Cavendish Park, which is behind the Naver Grove and the Pine Tree Hill sites. So that area is really lovely. It has access to the Park Connector, brings you to Dover MRT. But keep in mind, again, this is still an RCR project. Now they priced it so competitively because look at that. The average pricing for Naver Grove, 2469, even cheaper than Clementi. So Naver Grove, really attractive price that went for 1233 PSF. Okay, now let's look at Ori, because we're still talking about land sales that have gone in the 1-2 range. So Ori, average price 2731 already, and you have the 5 bedrooms transacting at even up to $4 million. The median price at 3.7. Incomes are strong right now, so if you're thinking about this and your exit strategy, you don't have to be concerned because all this is well within affordability of Singaporeans. You can also analyze that the gap between the RCR, OCR and CCR has closed significantly in the last 10 years, where it used to be 37% more expensive to buy into CCR. It's now only a 15% difference, and in fact the gap might close further with the recent RCR and OCR prices having surpassed this particular land plot price. Now let's look at the actual plot that last sold, which was One Holland Village Residences. One Holland Village Residences, the average price was 2768, but the highest PSF, which was a subsale of a 4-bedroom unit, was 3781 PSF. And the land bid price was higher. You know why it was higher? Because it was a mixed development. The land price was 1888 PSF PPR. And so in a sense, the people who paid for this Far East development paid the premium to be part of this commercial mixed development. And that is why we are possibly going back to 2019-2020 prices with this current launch. I also want you to see, in terms of not just pricing for sale and exit, but look at the rental trend. Out of 296 units in September, we have 180 rental transactions, which shows you the rental demand is so strong. And we're talking at anywhere from 7.8 to 8.6 PSF for rental across all categories from 1 to 4 bedroom. And that means our rental rates at 8 PSF. You look at that, your 2-bedroom, you're gonna get 4.6. Your 2-bedroom premium, you get 5,000. The ones with a study, 2+ study, you can get almost $6,000, right? 3-bedroom premium times $8, you're gonna be easily getting 8.5, 8.6. And a 4-bedroom, you can command almost $10,000 rent because people really love this location. So whether it is for own stay or for your investment purposes, this is a very safe product for you to enter. Now let's look at the site plan of One Holland Village and see how much things have already transacted there. So you can see in terms of the quantum, this was the pricing from 2019 to 2022. So that's really like 5-6 years ago already. And you can see that we have an average of, for the 2-bedroom premium over here, because we have no 1-bedrooms in Skye to compare, an average of $2.1 million. And then for your 3-bedroom, you have anywhere from average of 2.95 to 3.98 for the larger 3-bedrooms. And for your 4-bedroom, you have an average of $6.75 million, highest even at 7.1. And the best profit that's been made was the 1238 square feet 3-bedroom unit that sold for 3,781 PSF. They made about $489,000 in profit. All right, so who does not want to make that in due time? So what we're saying, guys, is that if already there's a transaction at One Holland Village for 3,700 PSF, don't you think entering Skye at roughly anywhere from 2,008 to 3,000 PSF, even at 3,100 PSF, wouldn't that be pretty safe? Completely 100%. Now we're going to look at the One Holland Village floor plans because that was a non-harmonized project. Now what does that mean? That means that the developer could include aircon ledgers into the sale. So all of these things that you see with all these square footages actually include the aircon ledgers, which could be anywhere from about 30 to 50, even 80 square feet, depending on the unit size. Now you can see the 2-bed 1-bath has an aircon ledge here. The balcony is almost as large as the dining and living. And the kitchen actually is when you walk in, it's not tucked away at the side. You walk in and the kitchen is right on the left, like a galley kitchen. Same with the 2-bed premium. So even though it's a 2-bed 2-bath, you still have all of this walk-in kitchen kind of problem. You still have a huge balcony that is bigger than your living and dining and an aircon ledge. And then you look at the larger 2-bedroom. You can say, yes, this is a much more squarish layout, but look at the size of the balcony. The balcony is probably about 120, 150 square feet out of your 947. Now let's compare with our show flat 2-bed plus study that's going to go up at 732, and I'm just going to show you how much more efficient our layout is going to be compared to One Holland Village. Okay, firstly, you have a dumbbell format, you have living dining in the middle, 2.8 meters width, that's very respectable. Balcony is not oversized, okay? Unlike here where you can see the balconies are going to be almost the same size as living room. Here, the balcony is not going to be oversized, okay? You have a kitchen that is tucked away at the side, okay, which is what most people want and prefer because you can enclose that. You have a common bath that is a Jack and Jill with your common bedroom. So essentially you have 2 en-suites. Okay, master bedroom, very good size, 10.3, common bedroom 9, very little wasted space. You just have a bit of a walkway in here and a tuck-away kitchen. This is not drawn to scale. This is just our understanding of what the developer has done. So if you want the floor plans, like I said, you can give me a WhatsApp, scan this code that you see on the screen so that you'll be the first to know and you'll be the first to ballot, okay? I'm going to talk to you about how you can secure a unit at Skye because I know all of you are very anxious to find out. I'm going to explain to you the process, especially if you've never bought a new launch before at the very end. So please stay around, stay tuned for that. I have to walk you through all of the information so you are assured that Skye Holland is going to be a really worthwhile project for you to buy into. Going back to the One Holland Village floor plans, this is their 3-bed premium 1098. Sounds big, but look at the huge balcony that is pretty much wasted in front of the bedroom because you don't really use a balcony in front of the bedroom. I mean, you don't see that space. You have a rather large kitchen, which is not saying that it's bad, okay, but the kitchen is only just this. It doesn't have a dry kitchen or anything. And then you have a big aircon ledge. And then you still have your utility space that has only a tiny bit of storage because you still need walking room. You have another 3-bedroom 1281 L-shaped balcony, which is a bit inefficient. So this is L-shaped, right? I don't know why they didn't push this out. They obviously had issues in architecture. You have a very, very big foyer that is slightly wasted. And again, you have a big aircon ledge. Now let's compare to our 3-bedroom premium 1076. And you're going to see that at 1098, all that wasted space, 1076 harmonized project means no aircon ledge. Is going to give you so much more living space to use. Look, your master bedroom 13.9, excluding the bathroom. Okay, you have a household shelter that's properly tucked away if you want to use it as a helper room. Your kitchen is sizable but tucked away at the side, 9.3 square meters, and a nice 3-meter wide living and dining, and almost a 10-meter length all the way from your balcony to the end. Balcony, again, not oversized. Good sized common rooms at 9 square meters. And now finally, let's compare the 4-bedroom premium that was 2,088 square feet that averaged $6.75 million, guys. This is a really done deal, okay? So imagine the prices. Look at the huge balcony that's going across the living, dining, and junior suite. Okay, so really, really huge balconies going over here. Aircon ledge and also circulation space. Another aircon ledge over there, right? So you do have quite a bit of inefficiencies, easily 300 square feet of inefficient space that's being used in the 4-bedroom premium at One Holland V. Now let's compare our 1765 5-bedroom premium that's going to be launching at Skye. This is also going to be in the show flat, a nice 6-meter wide living dining. Now it's one of the signature UOL designs to have that dry kitchen space, which is very, very lifestyle, that can still be enclosed. Your yard, your household shelter tucked away at the back. So this is going to be very, very similar to Wharton House, Pine Tree Hill, that kind of layout where you have that nice big landed-like kind of living dining that you see. Balcony is not oversized. You can see the depth of the balcony is limited, so we don't have such a huge balcony. It's about 1/3 the size of your living dining. Unlike this, where you can see the balcony is almost the same size as the living dining and even the junior suite. And then you have junior master, really good size, almost 15 square meters. And your master bedroom 16.6, and still comes with the walk-in wardrobe, your master bath, and you also have basically everyone has ensuite access except for your 5th bedroom, which could be more like a study. So bedroom 3 and 4 share a Jack and Jill. Junior master bedroom has its own bath, and the bedroom 5 would have to share with the Jack and Jill with the junior master, but that's not a problem because you're likely going to be using bedroom 5 as a study room. For your study room to be 9.5 square meters is really significant because I know most people are like, yeah, bedroom 5, like it's more like a 4+ study. No. This is a proper bedroom size, so you can use it as a bedroom maybe for a child who may not need their own toilet yet. Okay, so what I really enjoy is the efficiency of the 5-bedroom, and the pricing. I'm going to show you the price matrix is not even going to get close to what One Holland Village sold at 6.75, and that's the average price. Before I walk you into the overall pricing matrix, I just want you to know that we are in a near mixed but not mixed development. And we're going to have a lot of case studies, but I can only show you 1 or 2 as to why near mixed developments tend to be more profitable than your actual mixed developments. Now you're going to look at Park Colonial versus Woodleigh Residences. Woodleigh Residences is connected to the new mall and the MRT, but Park Colonial is just on the other side of the road, just opposite it. Now look at the pricing. It's really about the entry, because the entry price of Woodleigh was so high at 2,000 per square foot, whereas the entry price for Park Colonial was only at 1,748. Now you can say like, hey, why is this like dipping here? That's because there were a whole bunch of units from the Woodleigh Residences that were facing air vents, like road facing, and so they were like priced way, way down so the developer could get rid of it towards the end of like the remainder units. And that's why you see that after those were sold off, you can see that the prices went back up to 2.1 and so on and so forth. So you can see that because of the entry price of a near mixed development that still enjoys the accessibility and amenities, but without actually being in the mixed development, the entry price allows you to have a much higher profitability. Okay, we have the same story for Watertown versus Park Centros, and it's the same principle. Your mixed development always has a higher premium they command because the land price was already higher to begin with due to the commercial factor that has to be put inside that the government already knows, right, that the developer is going to be earning a lot from the commercial side, but somehow that gets passed on to us as buyers. So look at that. You have your Watertown being 1.2, your Park Centros only being 988. And so when they exited, eventually you're going to see a much higher PSF in Park Centros because of the lower entry price. And one last one, you can see Poise Residences versus Senate Residences, where Poise is the mixed development and Senate is just opposite the road. Both are equidistant to the MRT if you ask me, just that the mixed development has the commercial aspect. Again, you can see that the entry price was a 200 PSF difference, and you can see that Senate Residences has the higher growth at 53% instead of 40% for your mixed development. These are some of the reasons why we might want to buy a near mixed instead of an actual mixed, which anyway, One Holland Village, I mean, you have to buy on a subsale market right now, so that won't be brand new. But 7 reasons would be, for example, you don't want to be in so much human traffic, you don't want so much noise, you want to be a bit more private, right? Number 3. Number 4, you have lower maintenance fees because you're not paying for the commercial development as well. You have more ground level facilities because you actually have more floor plate, right? You're not having to share that with your commercial space, right? You have a more homely feel, not so over commercialized, right? Where you see the mall right in front of you every day. And generally the entry price, as I mentioned, which is the main reason why your profit's going to be higher, is because it's going to be cheaper. I have shared a lot so far, and if you are still with me, you are a champion. Give yourself a cheer. Because I have shared so much about what is the compelling lifestyle requirement and reason why people would love Holland. Okay, the scarcity of this particular plot. The entry price is going to be amazing because of our land price. It's a near mixed development, which means that we get to enjoy the amenities and the accessibility and connectivity without having to pay a premium for a mixed development. I showed you the floor plans as well, complete with One Holland Village, to show you why we are going to have a much more efficient layout and livable space compared to that, and because we are also a harmonized project. And so I'm going to take you through just a few more things on, for example, the recent launch of Upper House and what we can learn from the Upper House. Why I want to do that? Because Upper House and Skye Holland have very similar qualities. Okay, so for example, Upper House at 35 stories, we have 40. There's only one stack for 4-bedroom and 3-bedroom premiums with the premium facings. And same thing for us, we only have one stack for 5-bedroom premium and the 4-bedroom premiums, which are the premium GCP facings. And the majority of both developments are 2-bedroom types. And what is likely going to be happening in our pricing strategy is that our bigger units are going to have a higher PSF than the smaller units. We also saw that in Rivergreen, where they had the premium facing in Rivergreen towards the river, and the 3+ studies were commanding a premium above, way above. We're talking about like 3,005, 3,006 PSF compared to the 2-bedrooms that were selling about 3,001. You can see that developers have that direction with Upper House, and it's going to be very similar for the Skye as well. And there's also going to be a very big premium gap between the lowest floors and the highest floors, which means that we can actually enter, which you have seen with other developments here. You can see here, level 14 is 3290 PSF compared to level 34, which is 20 floors higher at 3641, which is a difference of 351 PSF, but a quantum difference of $246,000. So anything up to perhaps the 30th floor, where you can still have that gap of up to the 40th floor, is going to be a safe entry for Skye at Holland, right? So don't be afraid to take units that are even like 25, 28, 29, 30, because you still have the premium height units that likely the developer is going to be pricing way above, because they're going to command that view. Even in HDBs, they do that, right? I mean, I used to stay at Dawson, and the 40th floor are like selling so much more expensive than the mid floors. So don't be afraid. Even if you get a ballot number that's later on like a middle ballot number, you're getting 20th floor, 30th floor, that's okay, because you still have the higher floors to protect you as that buffer for your higher PSF transactions. I'm going to be giving you now the thing that we've all been waiting for, our estimated price matrix. This is not official, but this is for us to give a projection based on our land prices and what we estimate, and also what we see from Upper House, Rivergreen, some of the way developers have been pricing, so you get an idea, right, of what is likely going to be the pricing. But rather than just show you this matrix, because you can see that even like RCR developments have already sold for the 2+ studies easily 2.2 to 2.4, right? So this is definitely going to be very affordable for our buyers and even for your future exit, right? Can you imagine if you can get a 2-bedroom at 1.6 mil? That is really amazing. It's going to be amazing for you. And even at your higher end, okay, we're talking about potentially looking at a less than 5 million range for your 4-bedroom and a top end of probably 6 million for your 5-bedroom. It might not even reach that high. So I just want to compare with you for One Holland Village, because that is literally our neighbor next door. Okay, we're going to show you almost apples to apples how we compare. Okay, transacted prices for One Holland Village, 1.6 to 2.38, and our launch prices at Skye Holland are likely going to be 1.6 to 1.8. We're comparing similar units, not exactly size, because theirs was not a harmonized project. Now you compare the 2-bedroom premium, so we're talking about 2-bed, 2-bath. We're talking about a range of 1.85 to 2.52, and our prices are projected to be anywhere from 1.8 all the way to 2.3, even at 3,100 per square foot. So don't you think this is a very safe price, right? We're literally going back in time. Okay, our 3-bedroom is going to be similar in square foot to our 2-bed premium. That 2-bed premium for One Holland Village transacted 2.57 to 2.78. Compared to our 3-bedroom, look at that. We're going to go for roughly 2.5 to 2.8. And for a harmonized project, we're going to have a more efficient layout than them. Okay, and our 3-bedroom, so this is our 3-bed, 3-bath, we're going to 1076. And remember, we compared the floor plan just now and showed how inefficient the 1098 was. Now, that inefficient 1098 already sold 2.56 to 3.43, and we are likely to be entering at around 3 million to 3.3. All right, so very, very safe range. And we are, by the way, a newer development. So our lease only starts in 2024. The lease for One Holland Village starts in 2018. They're 6 years older than us. And then our 4-bedroom 1238, right, compared to their 1238, which, by the way, this one already made that profit, which we talked about. It sold 3.77 to 4.68. Now, that was the subsale that we're talking about. Our entry price is going to be roughly $3.4 to $3.8 million. And then we're going to compare the bigger premium stack, which I think the developer will load more of the premium pricing on that, because everybody loves a 4-bedroom. Everybody loves the fact that we have that nice, iconic dry kitchen and closable thing, right, that we all love. This 4-bedroom premium is a 1464, but harmonized project, compared to a 1615 3-bedroom premium. Those went for $5 million already on average. Okay, and we are not even hitting 5. We're not even hitting 5 for our 4-bedroom premium for going to be a very similar livable space because we're harmonized. And then going to the 5-bedroom premium, they have that very inefficient 2,000 square feet 4-bedroom, remember that you saw, sold at 6.41 lowest price. Even at the higher projection of 3,100 per square foot, we are $1 million less than them. And we're going to have a more efficient layout. Can you imagine that Skye Holland is literally going back in time to 2019, 2022 prices with lower quantums, more efficient layouts, and the same access to amenities, connectivity, and all that lifestyle that Holland Village has to offer. If you're not compelled by this, I am, but I'm going to summarize 3 top reasons as to why you need to be looking into Skye and coming for our VIP preview at the end of September. Okay, CCR land cost is lower right now for Holland Village than the OCR. We've talked about that. Bayshore, Chuan Grove, and even Holland Link, which is RCR, is really higher than this. Secondly, last GLS plot in Holland Village, I have to re-emphasize this because Holland Village is surrounded by low-rise commercial and also low-density condominiums, right? And then you have the HDB flats, which is already there, which you can't change. And then you have the GCB areas that you will never change. So there's going to be no more land for Holland Village, right, other than this. And the third thing is on pricing. Now, this is the most important because we're literally back to 2019 prices, thanks to the fact that the One Holland Village commercialized plot, because it was a mixed development, was a lot higher than ours, right? And they really had to make up for that. Honestly, this opportunity not to be missed. I'm going to end off with how does buying a new launch work? Because I'm sure you're convinced, scan this QR code so you can WhatsApp me and be one of the first to get the floor plans, be able to see the preview, right, for yourself at the show flat. I'm going to be personally walking you through together with my team. We have specialists, project specialists who are going to explain even more if this was not enough, because I've already explained a lot. So I will personally walk you through and show you and help you select the right unit as well, because that's another thing altogether. But I'm going to share with you just basically how the new launch process goes if you've never booked one before. Now, in the preview setting, everyone just gets to see the show flat. Nobody can buy a unit. And if you're really interested, you have to put down a check or a cashier's order, right, in the name of the developer, able to be given a ballot number, and that ballot number will then decide on booking day the order of when people get to book their units. In a sense, God is going to give you the ballot number, so we got to pray for a good ballot number, but you can only book once you have a ballot number. If you don't give the check and you don't get the ballot number, you're only going to be able to buy the leftover units after everyone who has had the ballot number has already selected their unit. So you need to have your check ready, if not a cashier's order. And there is a cutoff time, so you can't wait forever. And if you are in the middle of still selling your place, we can walk you through the timeline and see how it works with the exercise of the new development, because it's going to be progressive payments, and the sales and purchase timeline for that document to be signed is usually only a few weeks after the booking day. All right, so if you just sold your place, you have a free name, you're looking for investment property, you want Bukit Timah Holland, this is going to be the perfect development for you. Give me a call, take a WhatsApp, look at this QR code, and subscribe for more videos, because I'm going to be sharing more about how this is going to change your life into buying a particular new launch, and why new launches continue to form a very important part of an investment strategy for us as moms, as families, and as people who are wanting to do well for ourselves and our families. Give us a like, subscribe, and I'll see you at the next video. And don't forget to call me if you want to view Skye Holland. See you!